Deus me proteja de mim e da maldade de gente boa, da bondade da pessoa ruim. Hi, hello, how's it going? It's Lo. In my last Global South video, I said that I did not want the video to be contentious, that I just wanted to have a conversation and maybe spark up some debate. I have a limit, and I'm not the fucking ocean, therefore no need for me to be called Pacific. The past couple of weeks have been difficult if you have been living in the Global South. From Brazil having a second wave of COVID, which was devastating and had a lot of oxygen shortage, and then Brazil also going through yet another massacre of Black young men in the favelas where 25 people were killed in the span of 3 hours, most of them in front of their family and friends, most of them posed into derogatory positions and photographed by the very police who then socialized the pictures of the corpses with their family and friends and therefore with the rest of the media, from India actually having a way worse collapse than Brazil actually had, which I didn't thought it was possible in the first place, but apparently it is. And now people are suffocating to death. Again, just like they were in Brazil, from Colombia actually going up in flames. And guess what, bitch? Palestine is about to make freaking lose it. So if you live in the vicinity on the Global South, or if you actually have a heart, so you know that the past 2 weeks have been particularly difficult. I work with human rights, therefore working this week was difficult, was exhausting. I cannot believe this is something that is happening again. I've been watching congressional hearings on COVID mismanagement in Brazil for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and every single day has been more disheartening, even though I've been making fun of it on Twitter, because sometimes it's pretty funny. Watching it is pretty disheartening because knowing how many people we could have vaccinated, how many people we could have saved, how many people were killed by the incompetence of our government, by the genocidal and homicidal nature of our government, and then once again seeing another massacre occur in a favela, thinking like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Because clearly my degree in the law means shit in here if, the Supreme Court can forbid the police from walking into the favelas to do those police operations, during COVID, and then the police will just say fuck it and just do it regardless. So it was all pretty harrowing, and even still, I'm not the person who's suffering the most with this. Palestinians are being genocided as we speak, and so this has been a very difficult week for me as a person who lives in the Global South. And I didn't want to talk about books, but I want to talk about something that has been irking me a lot. So let me backtrack. The Asian Readathon is going on. The Asian Readathon is organized by Cindy from, I think it's with Cindy, her channel now. It was absolutely lovely and I really love her. She has really been engaged in raising awareness for things that have been going on in the Global South and specifically in Asia. She has been extensively talking about Palestine, about oxygen deprivation and the COVID spread in India. Just today, a major hospital in the Philippines caught on fire, and she was also very vocal about that, spreading awareness and stuff. And then everyone who I see in the booktube community kind of engaging with the Asian Readathon is not engaging with that at all. It's just like, my Asian Readathon TBR, and then nothing else. And so I was pondering on this week, and I decided that I would just sit and film a rant review, because I have a question. Booktube community, and book Twitter community, and book community in general. Why the fuck are you reading diversely? This is a question that I want answered, because here's the thing. It doesn't matter how many diverse books you've read, how your book spreadsheet is color-coded and divided by race, ethnicity, and gender of authors. None of that matters anything if when those very people who are telling those stories for you to hear, consume, and show on your booktube channel and on your book Twitter to tell how woke you are to the world, if those people are begging you for help and you're not helping them, reading diversely means jack shit. And I'm going to be very direct here. When we in the Global South, and I say from the Global South, but I can say maybe all marginalized communities, but specifically in this moment, I'm talking about the Global South. When we tell our stories to you, we bear open not only the wonderful things that we have to offer from our own culture, but we're also bearing open our traumas, our difficulties, the things that we have faced in this life, the things that keep us up at night, the horrid things that we have seen before. And we tell those stories, hoping that if you read with them and you empathize with them, when we need your help, you will be able to have, the decency to do so. But what I have seen in the past 2 weeks, in the past couple of weeks, and ever since I joined the book community for real, is that y'all are more than happy to read about us, but whenever we actually need your help, it's crickets, and the silence is fucking deafening. This really has me pondering, why the fuck are we pushing for the diversification of our shelves, and for us to read diversely, and for us to talk diversely, and for us to engage with authors of different ethnicities and different nationalities so we can broaden our horizons? Why am I doing this if when we need help, and when we need awareness, and when we need y'all to give a single fuck, that doesn't happen? What is the point of reading diversely if reading diversely cannot get a community that is so powerful and that moves so much money and that talks about something that is so fundamental for changing the way that we look at things as the book community, to give a shit about people dying? Believe me, it's been very harrowing to be in the book community and see people giving more of a shit about brown face of a stunt double in the Shadow and Bone series without actually, by the way, mentioning the actual brown face made by the actual actor of the Shadow and Bone series called Ben Barnes, who actually did Latinx brown face of a Colombian man who is called, I shit you not, Alejandro. And when Colombia was getting fucked over in the head, that man who did Latinx brown face of a Colombian man could not spare a retweet about Colombia, which would be the very least. But y'all are more than happy to get that, whole debacle trending while Palestinians were being bombarded to death and to oblivion in Gaza. Y'all better caring about brown face in a Netflix TV show than you are caring about actual brown people being bombarded in Gaza. So that's what you're all telling me right now. Is it? And, probably I'm not being the most coherent right now. I don't really care, but I just needed to get this off my chest, because here is the thing. If you are more than happy to engage with readathons that are meant to diversify your shelves, if you're more than happy to sit in front of a camera and showcase all of the diverse books that you bought, if you're more than happy to go on Twitter and virtual signal the shit out of every single little thing in the book community, I suppose you should be more than happy to actually spread awareness about things. Share donation links, put your money where your mouth is, and actually make some donations. Because if we, in the Global South, who actually don't make that much money, are able to contribute to those causes, therefore, you, sitting in the Global North, at the height of the Imperium, should be able to do so as well. It's impossible for me not to see the hypocrisy of it, because people are more than happy to use diversity for clout and virtual signaling, when in fact, what we're asking, when we're asking you to read diversely, is please listen to us. Because we are needing you to listen to our plight and actually use your voice to help. Because guess the fuck what? My Brazilian ass, sitting all the way back into Brazil, has no bearing whatsoever on what your representatives in the United States or in Europe will do. Guess who has the voice and the power to change that? You! So when we're saying read diversely, we're not just saying please make everyone in the book community know what a good human being you are, because you read so diversely and your spreadsheet of books is color-coded into things that are breakdowns of diversity in your bookshelves and in your reading. That means jack shit when you're not able to put your money where your mouth is and actually help the people who are asking you for help. Palestinians are being genocided, and they actually need the engagement and the constant posting and retweeting and encouragement of their posts to spread the word of the ongoing ethnic cleansing. Another thing, which is hilarious actually, because I've seen so many people in the book community say like, I don't want to say anything because I'm not educated enough. First of all, bitch, you're in the fucking book community. If there is a person who knows how to get educated on shit, it's you. So miss me with that shit. Second of all, listen, I'm a human rights attorney. I have, give it or take, 7-8 years of legal education in me. We'll probably get some more because I'm looking for a PhD, because I have absolutely no regard for my mental health whatsoever. Let me be the person to tell you this. You do not need a master's degree in law, like I have, to know that the Fourth Geneva Convention, that is signed by both the United States and the State of Israel, puts a series of protections in place that specifically protect hospitals, children, family, and civilians from actual military attacks. That shit was signed in 1949, so it's not news, okay? You do not need a law degree to know that the International Convention on the Prevention and Eradication of Genocide, that, by the way, was also signed by both Israel and the United States, states specifically in its Article 2 that you are not supposed to do ethnic cleansing by putting everyone of the same ethnicity in a single place and making life for them extremely hard. Also, you're not supposed to stop children from that ethnicity to be born or to have a full life by killing the pregnant women who carry them, or by killing the children themselves. Also, you do not need to work for people who are part of the prosecution of the Yugoslavia case in the International Court of Hague to know that you're not supposed to bomb media outlets. You're not supposed to bomb hospitals. You're not supposed to bomb refugee camps. You're also not supposed to bomb children. You do not need any of those. You only need Google. But let me tell you something. You do not need Google to know that killing children is wrong. You know what you need to be a good fucking human being. So, let me be the one to tell you that you do not need to educate yourself to speak against injustice. That is bullshit. And that is you using your privilege to sit out of a conversation that none of us in the Global South have the opportunity to sit out. Do you think I could sit out of the actual genocide going on in Brazil with COVID? Do you think people in Palestine can just sit out the actual bombings going out their windows? We can't sit out of this. And so, if you, and specifically the place where you come from, actually contributed for this state of affairs, I feel like it's only fair that we ask you to spare a couple of retweets to make sure the conversation keeps going and the people who need to be held accountable are actually held accountable. Speaking of a book community, I feel like this adds yet another layer, because if you are reading books, and this annoys me so much about the book community, I might get canceled, whatever, but there is this idea in the book community of using books as a way to say that you're not like other people. Like, I'm so quirky. I just read all day and I just cozy up with my books because I'm just so special. When in fact, there is a reason why fascist and authoritarian regimes will forbid censorship, burn, and get rid of certain books because books are inherently incendiary. And if you cannot recognize the power that books wield in actually making a change in the world, I am so sorry, you need to find another hobby. Maybe take up knitting, because you chose a hobby that is inherently political, and there is no running away of the way that things are in the world when you're talking about books. This shit serves a purpose. This is a weapon, and if you're not using this as a weapon, you're using it wrong. Of course, I too like to read shitty porn every once in a while. It is fine, but you have to understand that this comes with a major responsibility. This comes with a major duty. And if you are the person who wants to make this your livelihood, or if you are the person who wants to make this your entire personality, like a good chunk of the book community wants to, then you better make this thing proud. People have died over this shit. If you are reading diversely for the clout and for the virtue signaling, let me be the one to tell you, we don't need it. We, in the Global South and in all marginalized communities, are better off if you just keep reading Sarah J. Maas for the rest of your life. That's roughly the same amount of impact, and it won't carry with it the heartbreak of seeing people who we thought understood what we're going through close their eyes and turn the other side whenever the situation gets tough. Last week, Divya from Divya Reads made an amazing video, and she made a point in that video that echoes and still echoes in my head to this day. She said that people in the global north are more concerned about people in the global south EPUBing or PDFing their books than they are when those people are actually dying. And this is true. I have seen more outrage directed at people pirating books than I have seen outrage directed at what makes those people unavailable to have books in the first place, but also when those people are dying. For me, it's just extremely disheartening to see a community that pretends to be so forward, that intends to be so diverse, so progressive, so accepting, just do it all for show. And I don't have the patience for that. Because in our Lord's year of 2021, I simply do not have the patience for performative shit. You know, maybe a friend sent you this video, okay? And a friend sent you this video, it's like, what an interesting video. Maybe this person sent you this video as a wake-up call. So hello, I am your wake-up call. Do better. If you are in a position of privilege, do better. Do your own goddamn research. Google is free. Talk to people. Get educated on issues. You are part of a book community. And if you are a part of a book community, the answer, I want to get educated first, doesn't stick. Okay? It just, no one believes you. Okay, so, you know what also doesn't stick? That whole I read books for escapism type of shit, because y'all are happy enough reading about genocide and fighting against injustices in books, but apparently that's not good enough to pay attention to whenever it's happening in real life. Just say you don't care about brown people and go. If you want a hobby for escapism, may I suggest taking up Minecraft? May I suggest beading or doing fucking wood carving or whatever the shit it is. I don't give a fuck. But if you chose this hobby, if you wanted to go forward with this, you have to do the work. Because this is not something that comes with no baggage. If you want to go for books, and specifically, if you want to be the type of person who is known and identified and renowned for being a very diverse reader, let me be the person to tell you that this comes with a baggage. This might be the video that gets me canceled. I don't know. At this point, I really don't give a shit. But please do your own research and also do better, okay? You know, it's very disheartening to see a community that prides itself on being so diverse and being, you know, so inclusive and including and whatnot, to be so callous and so insensitive to people's suffering. I am not Christian. Once again, I've said I've been a part of the African Brazilian religion of Umbanda for years now, and mostly because I'm part of this religion, I must speak against injustice when I see it. But I was raised Catholic, and I haven't been to Mass in years. I haven't stepped into church in years because I really cannot be bothered. But even though I haven't been to church in a very long time, there is this one part of the Bible that I remember from Catholic school that I really loved, and it's in the first letter of Paul to the Corinthians. And in this letter he says, it's that very famous part, like, love is patient, love is kind, and whatever, but there's this one part that I feel captures the situation quite well, and he says something along the lines of, if I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. And I feel like this applies very well to the situation, because if you diversify your shelves completely, and if you only read books by people in the global south and people from marginalized communities, if you do all that, but you do not have passion behind it, and you do not have your soul behind it, and you do not have your heart behind it, if you're doing it for clout, and you're not doing it because you believe in, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I feel like this is what I wanted to convey albeit very angrily, because I am very angry. But I am going to leave petitions and donation links and things that you can use to educate yourself in the description below, because I said all of this, but I want to be a professor, so I'm still an educator at heart. I hope that we can move forward and we can be better. This is a community where I've made great friends and people who I love dearly, but I feel like collectively this community needs to do better. And I'm here to call for accountability, because that's who I am as a person. That's who I was raised to be. That's what I believe in. And I feel like this is what we all need to do. Specifically because we're talking about books. This is not a joke, okay? And people have died over this. People will die over this. And it is our duty to honor the sacrifices of people who came before us. When I got into law school, when I was about 18, I did my first tattoo. It's like down here. This part. This tattoo is a line of a song by an Argentinian singer called Mercedes Sosa, and it says, "Que el dolor no me sea indiferente," which is, may I never be indifferent to pain. And the reason why I got this tattoo was because once I got into law school, I was talking to my mom in the car one day, and then this song came up on my mom's, playlist, and she kind of like silenced the conversation and turned up the radio. And this song specifically says, "I only ask of God, may I never be indifferent to pain, and may death never find me empty and alone without having done enough." And she looked at me and she said, "You are going to be a great professional. And because you're going to be a great professional, you're going to have a lot of power. And out of all of the things that I've ever taught you, out of all the things that I've ever instilled in you, all of the values, this is the one that I don't want you to forget. May you never be indifferent to pain. Because whenever you are in a situation of power and privilege, this is the first thing that you let go." And I got this tattooed, and the tattoo, as I grew older and stuff, got a little squiggly. It's not looking the best, but I still love it because it doesn't matter how ugly the things are. I may never be indifferent to pain. And I feel like this is something that we should all collectively adopt into our lives. May we never be indifferent to pain, and may death never find us empty and alone without having done enough. Thanks you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!